I'm going to talk about A/B testing at ING. As my announcement said, it will not be really technical, so this is your chance to get up and run if you're expecting in-depth Java. Let me first start to talk about myself. And I don't have my slides here, so I might be a bit chaotic because I have no idea what's coming, just as for you guys. I'm missing my presenter notes and my look ahead slides. So. But that's enough about that. My name is Rik van de Ven. I'm an engineer / architect / product owner. So let me give you some idea on what I mean by that. I started as an engineer. I started developing in Java in 1997 at university. And I've been doing a lot of development at ING. And at some point I got a bit annoyed with architects, coming up with architectures I felt I couldn't build. So I decided to fix that by becoming an architect for a while. So I became an architect, and as an architect, I always said that an architecture isn't right until I know how to build it. So that was how I looked at being an architect. And I had some fun as an architect, but I kind of got annoyed by one side of being an architect, and that's that you're drawing a lot of pictures, but you're not really delivering stuff. So that I felt it was time to do something else again, and I became a product owner. And that's what I'm talking about today. One of the products I got the opportunity to deliver for ING was one of the things I was also involved with as architect, is something for A/B testing in a secure banking environment. And yeah, that's the subject for today. Before I start, I want to give some background on A/B testing. It may be too much for you guys, but yeah, I just want to give some background, some introduction. So when we talk about A/B testing, we always talk about having an idea about something, an hypothesis saying, if we change something on our product we are delivering, we may improve something. As an example would be, what if we make the button in our current mobile application orange, since this thing is a bit loose? Sorry. What if we make this button on our payment screen orange? Would it be easier for our customers to transfer money? This is a bit of a stupid idea. If you might know the app, it will... Oh, that was the visual. And there it is again. If you know the app, then the button will actually turn orange at the time you're ready to do the transfer. That's why it's gray at the start, but that's not what we're talking about here. The idea with A/B testing is that if you have some idea of changing something, you get the opportunity to discuss that idea with whoever is in your team and just say, hey, let's give this a try. Let's put this in production and yeah, let's just see if it works. So that's A/B testing. So if you look at our current customers, everyone gets a gray button. What we do in an A/B test, we say, okay, we pick out some of those customers in production, we give them the orange button, and that's called a variant, or in the B from B testing. But to have value and to really learn from what we're doing, what's the effect of this orange button, we also need to compare it to a similar set of customers who get the old version. That's the control group, as we call it in A/B testing, or the A group. So this is basically what an A/B test is. Just in production, giving two versions of a website to sets of customers and learning from it. Now there's a question there is why would you do this? And one example I always use is, I'm from a bank, so imagine we spent a couple of weeks in building this great new feature, and we put it in production, and we think we make it easier to do a calculation on a mortgage. So we're really proud, and we're seeing rates go up. More people are requesting mortgages on our website, so apparently our feature is great. But the problem with it, if you don't do an A/B test, is you have no idea if the feature is indeed great. Because what happens, while you changed your application, the whole world around you is changing. Interest rates are dropping, the house market is getting better and better. So we have no idea what the impact of what we are doing is. So we might be doing just stuff for no reason whatsoever. So we need to do something with that. That's why we want an A/B test. Before I go into how we do that at ING, I want to do some tests, and this is going to be annoying. I want all of you to stand up, please. So if you would please stand up for me. Thanks. we're gonna be doing some A/B tests, and this is tests which were actually done in production. So this is not stuff I'm making up. This is just tests which have been performed in the past, not by ING, but everywhere in the world. First test is a test on content, as we call it. We have a website, we change nothing on it, we're just changing one word. So what we're doing is saying we have a website which apparently it's are really special buildings you can see here. They're so special that the prices are not on the internet. So you need to press a button to get the prices. A bit outdated, but... And we have a button which says order, information and prices. And the idea here is that if you change the text from order to get, that more people will click that button. So what I would like you guys to do, everyone who thinks the B variant is better, please raise your hand. Okay, everyone who didn't raise his hand, please sit down. And I think that's not a lot, most will keep standing. If you're tired, you can also just sit down and act as if you did it. Another test. This is a nice form requesting you to request a demo. And here the idea is, let's not change content. We think we can make it more attractive. So what we do? We add a lady to our form, some image material, and that makes you trust it more, and it will probably mean that you're going to use this form. So again, the question is, who thinks that B improved people using the form? Please raise your hand. This time, everyone who raised their hand needs to sit down, because you guys are wrong. That's this going fast. I've got some more tests. This is a test on social. Social is a big thing as well, so there's a new idea saying, okay, we have this form for people to subscribe, let's make it social. Let's share who other people joined this. And yeah, we think then we get more people subscribing. So again, question, who thinks B is better? Raise your hand. And again, those who raised their hand can sit down, because in reality, less people subscribed. The problem with A/B testing is we don't know why. We only know that it's less people. We can guess, we can say maybe the number is too little, but we just know it. Well, there's the last example I want to do for an A/B test. This is a form with a click-through action. Or call to action. There's something in the form which triggers you to do something. And currently on the website, it's completely at the top. It's the first thing you see. And we're going to do an experiment. Let's put it at the bottom. Let's see what happens. This bottom of the screen, if you look at the size, you can kind of guess it's not in your viewport. You need to scroll down to get there. So the question is, who thinks the B version had more people use the call to action than the A version? Those who think it's B, raise your hand. Well, the rest can sit down again, because this time it was indeed the one at the bottom did better. And what I'm trying to show here, if you look around, that we started with quite a big group of people. We used our intuition to decide everyone can sit down now, by the way. And I don't have prizes, sorry, because no, sorry. I didn't know that it was going to be this little. I was afraid I was going to go broke if everyone was standing still. We lost visuals again. That's not really handy. Let's see if it comes back. No. Is there someone up there? Can I get a visual back? Thanks. Let's go. What I wanted to show here is why we would do A/B testing, because we all used our intuition to get a feeling of, okay, we're changing something, what happens? And in the end, we had 4 people standing. The rest of us, based on our intuition, had a wrong conception of what was going to be happening. So we think we really need A/B testing when we're making changes to really understand what the effect is. But then there's A/B testing in a bank. And why would we do A/B testing as a bank? So I want to spend some time to look at the strategy of our bank, because this kind of takes me to why we do it in a secure environment. If you look at their strategy, we're saying empowering people to stay a step ahead in life and business. And we translate that to clear and easy, anytime, anywhere, empower, keep getting better. And then it gets interesting for me. That's translated into creating a differentiating customer experience. So there's a lot of focus for us, strategy-wise, on experience, giving you the best experience. And this thing is not saying sell more products. It's saying we want to have the best customer experience. Well, there's a challenge in that, because if you look at customers and where their experience is, it's not on our public website where we talk about our products and where you can request to get a new product. Your experience with the bank is in your banking app, and it's when you're doing payments in the old MyING, for instance, or stuff like that. There, where the customers are logged in, is where the customers have the experience with the bank. And there, where the customers are logged in, is where we have security issues, because we really want to protect our customers. And that brings us to 3 challenges we have as ING when we want to do A/B testing. And the first one is there's a lot of A/B testing tools out there. There are commercial vendors giving you appliances which you can install on your own site. There's Optimizely and companies like that. We would have a SaaS solution and you can put some JavaScript on your page. But they all do the same thing. They take over control of your page. That might be by putting a JavaScript in your page. It might be by putting that appliance completely in between all traffic of us and our customers. But the end result is the same. We are giving control of something which is really important to us, the protected environment, to another third party. And if you look at the threats we are facing as a bank, there's advanced persistent threats, for instance. This would be really a problem. If we have a vendor giving us an A/B tool, we put it in our data center, and someone wants to attack the bank, they can, instead of attacking us, attack that vendor. They can have people work for that vendor, infiltrate that company, and control our website. That's what we want to prevent. So for us, using all those commercial off-the-shelf applications out there for A/B, it's not an option. And that's kind of a bummer. Another thing is ING uses an organization model based on Spotify. I don't know if everyone knows about this model, but it's a more decentral model. We have tribes, and in those tribes squads, and every squad and every tribe is responsible for a part of the bank. So we don't have a central organization who owns our entire website and who does the A/B testing on it. No, we have all those different teams, and all those different teams feel responsible for delivering an experience of some part. So we would have a tribe on the mortgages part, and we would have a tribe on your daily banking part. And if you look at most of those A/B testing tools, they are kind of designed for a central organization where you say, I will train a couple of guys and they can work with this tool, and they have this central place where they can alter our entire experience. And stuff is changing, and that's a bit weird, because if you are in a DevOps team in one of those squads and suddenly you get a call that your application is behaving weird and you didn't change anything, it doesn't really feel right, does it? Well, that could happen if you use a central A/B testing tool, because I could take your application, I could shift all the buttons around, and suddenly your application is broke. You get a call that your application is broken, but you have no clue because you didn't change anything. So organization-wise, we would like something which fits this way of working, this decentral model better. So again, we have a challenge. And the last one is quite an easy one, understanding data. We are using A/B testing, or the idea is to use it to learn from data and make decisions on that data. But if you start making decisions on data, and the data is wrong, that's even more disastrous, I think, than just doing it by intuition and just guessing, because you're suddenly convinced that you need to go left because your data tells you so, then your data better be right. So we really, and there again, the decentral model comes in place, because we don't have data experts in all those squads. So we need to somehow give all those squads the ability to do A/B testing and to learn from the data without having to do a lot. So are we the only one with this problem? And how do others solve this? I'm really happy with Booking.com, because Booking.com is not only a big company, they are really famous for they're doing everything with A/B testing. And they have a principal designer, I think his title is principal designer, Stuart Frisbee. And Stuart Frisbee has a statement I really like, because he literally said the following: you should build your own, or at least use tools that you can fix and adapt to your own context. This is his statement on what you should be doing with A/B testing. And this is quite a strong statement. He's literally saying, don't go for that tool which kind of works for you, build something which really works for you. And there are others out there who kind of say the same thing. Airbnb says the exact same thing. They have a lot of talks on A/B testing, and they always start with, we build our own A/B testing platform. Etsy, also really famous for A/B testing, they also built their own platform. They open sourced it, but they kind of let go of the open source product because what's the thing? They made it's so specific for their organization that it really didn't catch on. It's not an interesting open source product because it's for them specifically targeted. So the product is not there anymore, but they are still using it internally. They're just not maintaining the open source thing. So looking at the challenges we had and how other organizations did it, we said, okay, we need something like this as well. So one really important one, we need to fix the security problem. We don't want other people to get control of our website. So what do? We make something tailor-made for us that fixes the security problem, that fixes the invasiveness of all those tools. Because, yeah, we build it ourselves, so we control it ourselves. And we have all our processes for making sure it's secure. Another thing we needed to fix is that DevOps thing, those teams being in control. Well, that's quite an easy one, actually, because there's something for that which is quite a familiar term, is feature toggles. And if you would have feature toggles, you would give control to all the teams. Because if, as a developer, I could write code saying if this feature applies to this or if the feature doesn't do that, that's basically all I need as an engineer. And why I like this so much is that these feature toggles, I'm really writing production code. There are tools out there which just grab the screen and then you can drag a button and move it to the right a bit and suddenly the screen is different, but you're altering your experience and you're trying to learn from something which you kind of hacked into the system. And the great thing with this is just I'm writing code. I'm doing everything I always do for all code which I ship to production because I'm shipping this to production. So I can be sure that the quality of my experimental code is the same as the normal code. And that's for me a really important take on how we do A/B testing. A/B testing is not something we hack into the website. If we do an A/B test, we build the variant just as we would build any other feature. Same quality applies, same processes applies. It needs to be completely production ready. And the last one is we needed that data. This is a screenshot of our A/B testing dashboard. The data is a bit weird because I took one of the acceptance environment. But what this tries to do is give all the squad people just one easy insight in what's going on. So you can see in the top, that's the most important one. That's how is my variant doing. So in this case, the text is a bit weird because it's acceptance. But what it's saying here is the variant we put in place is doing 5% worse than how it was. At the right, it's saying this data is not statistically significant, so we did not gather enough data to really draw conclusions. But there is a probability, that's the right one at the bottom, that's the Bayesian probability model saying the chance is at least 70% that the original variation is better. And we have one important graph, that's the change in conversion. And what that does is actually it shows you the results of the top graph over time. And that's important because if this graph is going up and down and up and down and up and down, you can see, okay, we are still learning, it's still going in all directions, there's no conclusion yet. So that graph kind of helps you in figuring out where am I. Although I'm not statistically significant maybe, but I am seeing I'm kind of stabilizing so I can start learning from my data. The idea is that with this dashboard in place, it becomes easy to work. So let's get back. We had 3 challenges. Security, which we fixed by building it ourselves, a tailor-made solution for us. We had organization fit, which we fixed by making sure we can work with feature toggles, so every squad can do experience by themselves. And we need to understand data, so we need to provide a clear dashboard. If you combine all these, we have to build something, and well, this will be a really complex architecture diagram. This is what we had to build. One API, data underneath, and a dashboard, and this is basically our A/B testing solution. I do want to get into this a bit now. I need to look up the time though, because also my timer is not working. Okay. A little bit about the technique. We built the API in Java 8. It runs on Tomcat. The data is in Cassandra. And the dashboard is now built with Angular. It will be built with Polymer in the future. And we had Riks in it, and we removed it. I would really like it to be in there. I actually asked the team, let's put that in. I didn't have really good arguments. I just liked it in there. But when we started doing performance tests, we noticed that we could still win something. We were aiming at a response time of this API of about 10 milliseconds response time on highest load we get. And with Riks in place, we ended up at 20 milliseconds, and by removing it, we ended up at 10 milliseconds. And I think we could improve it and do the same with Riks. But yeah, we had some discussions on it. For now, it didn't add value. We might add more technology in the future, but we just made a really plain, simple API on top of Cassandra, and it worked, and it was fast. So that's the thing we built. Then how this works. I want to show how this works from three angles. One is from the angle of the squad who uses it. One is from the angle of the customer who might get into an A/B test. And the last one is how we get our data. So the first one is the flow of the squad. And that starts with that guy in a team, and he had some idea of, hey, I want to make something better. So he goes to our dashboard and he says, I want to do a new experiment. And he gets a wizard, ask him what's the name of the experiment. And that's basically it. And the dashboard will give him some example code. An example code the team can put in production with their own code in it. So the feature toggle line is provided. They can just add their stuff in it, put it in production. This is an example for front-end, but we can put it anywhere. So we could also have some example code in an API. They put that in production. And from the team's perspective, that's it. They are now ready to do the A/B test. That's all they need to do. Then there's the customer flow. And for a customer, it's a bit more complicated, but also not that hard. If someone logs into our system, every call needs to go to an authenticating proxy. That authenticating proxy either checks whether you have a session and then returns it, or it builds up a session. And what we do now, when you build up a session, we communicate with our experiments API, and that will bucket that customer into either A or B, if there's room in the experiment. It might also say, hey, you were already in the experiment before, you were in B, so I'm giving you B again. So when an experiment is running and a customer gets into the experience is the same. So you don't get a different experience every time you visit the website. The authenticating proxy now has that data available in session, and that makes it easy for us to expose it to any system we have. So we can just send data on which experiments are active to any system and any client. This is a setup we had a lot of debate on, because actually there are a lot of A/B tools who only start an experiment when you reach the point of functionality where the functionality is. And what we do is we say when someone logs in, we just bucket them in a couple of experiments. So for instance, we have an experience on mortgages. We put some customers in A and in B. But we don't know if those customers will actually be doing something with their mortgage. So there's some challenge there. But we did decide to go this way, because otherwise, every time when we would hit some functionality, for instance, someone goes to the mortgage page, we would then have to ask, is there an experiment on this functionality? Do we need to do something with the experiments API? And if you look at that way of building it, it would be easier for us to build the A/B testing tool. But it becomes harder if you look at it from our reliability perspective and an environment perspective, because for us, A/B testing is a secondary thing. If it's broken, it's broken. We shouldn't really care, because it's not about our daily availability. So it's nice if it's there, but it can also be away for a while. And that's why we position it like this. This is more a secondary flow. During session build-up, we might get some data on experience. If so, yeah, then we're happy. If not, it's not there. The last flow I talked about was the data flow. This is a really simple flow. We had that production code already there in a feature, and those feature toggles are provided by the experiments tool. So all that toggle code does is make sure there's communication to experiments API. And what it would do first is say that some functionality is visited. And that's the important one I just talked about. This one actually tells our API, that customer who was bucketed into the mortgages experiment, he's actually on the mortgages page now. So I'm actually serving him the variant now. So we will start learning with this customer. And then there might be another call which says the thing you as a team defined as success, for instance, it was easier for him to go to the form, so he's done faster, is now done. And that's another call. That data is in a dashboard from that moment on, so the team can just monitor the dashboard and see how the experiment is doing. This is basically the whole flow of how we do A/B testing. Yeah, I kind of hope this kind of puts together the things we've shown. We built that API ourselves. That's the tailor-made thing. We support the toggles with the API and by providing code. And we have the dashboard such it's easy to use. There's one more thing I wanted to show. And that's pilots. Because if you look at all this mechanism and what it's doing, actually, it's not only there for A/B testing, because while we can do feature toggling, we might as well use it for pilots. The thinking behind it is quite simple. This was an A/B test where we had a group of customers and we separated into an A and a B, and we give the B the new version. If we want to do a pilot, the mechanism is the same, but we just give everyone who is selected for bucketing the variant, and we can run pilots on our website. So we have one tool for controlling A/B tests. We can also use to run pilots. I think I went a bit too fast, so you guys can have lunch early, or we can do some questions. So, does anyone have a question? Yeah?
First of all, you're going through the verification process.
Yeah.
And you said there are like any systems, but basically how many systems that require the client to provide the password? Or can you also use this for ING.nl and track for A/B test with anonymous?
Yeah, we can. On ING.nl, you would also go to an authenticating proxy. It just always gives you a session without needing to provide data. So you can use it anywhere you want.
And also, this solution requires the team to provide content, so that they can do content as well, right?
Yes and no. The team is providing the application. So when it's about changing buttons or changing functionality, the team provides it. If you really talk about editorial content, so doing a content experience on ING.nl, we are working on making it easy for content managers to use this tool in the same way. Because content-only experience, we need to change the editorial content. And that's work in progress. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm seeing that. It's not used as such, but I do think that it's very applicable for it. Yes. No, that's no. But if you know someone who wants to drop those stories, feel free to do so. Yeah.
So you showed some very small examples.
Yeah.
In your experience, how big can your A/B test be in terms of functionality? Is it just button color, position, stuff like that, or can you make it bigger?
I think you should try to kind of keep it small, because for instance, if you would look at the redesign of your entire website, we've got this current style now, we want a new style, let's A/B test it. Yeah, what are you testing? There's so much stuff has changed. There's some nice talks on that from, I think it's the people from Etsy who did an experiment where they said, okay, we want to change something on the website. They changed it in 5 parts, and the test failed. But they were like, yeah, but we kind of have the feeling that there's something good in it. And then they redid the test and they split it up into 5 small parts, and they learned that, okay, 2 parts did work and did work really well, and 3 didn't. So I think it's always a tool to kind of help you with the small changes, and that's also where you can have debate in your team, like should we do it like this or just slightly different. If you talk about how do we design our entire application, that's still something you design and where you have experts for, and yeah, an A/B test wouldn't give you much information. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah?
I'm also part of the developers team. Haven't had any experience with this. Is it available to all of us?
Not yet. It's not available in the ING group. It's currently ING Retail NL. So it depends on where you are in the ING organization. If it's wholesale banking or the ING group, it's not available. Okay. Well, we could. I don't think it's interesting for this to get into it now, but we can have a chat on it afterwards because we are looking into expanding that. Any other? Yeah.
You told about that you work in different tribes, different groups. You don't have a global group for A/B testing.
Yeah.
How did it start off? Did a specific tribe start to develop some tool and then it got?
Yeah, really good question. That's a bit tricky because the concept of this started off in the past when we did have the central department, and I was an architect for the internet area, and that's where they wanted tooling like this. But that was only thinking about it. But we do have one special tribe that's called Building Blocks, and that's a tribe who provides IT means for all the squads. So it gives you continuous delivery tooling, it gives you test platforms, and it also gives you tools like Cassandra as a service and A/B testing, for instance. So we have a tribe which delivered that kind of stuff to all the other tribes. Yeah, that's clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a way to change that during the period of the test? How do you initially determine the ratio of these groups?
Yeah, we currently said, because we are new with this, it's our own solution and we are learning. So we did the simplest way first. What we currently are doing, saying the ratio is always 50-50. And not all customers, You start. There's one first important step, and that's you say, well, okay, I want to do an experiment and give me 100,000 customers, or give me a subset of customers being this subset. But then in that group, we always do 50-50, and we know at some point we can make this much better and add knobs where you can say, hey, I kind of have the feeling B is doing better. Let's add more people to B and see what happens. But then the statistics get more complicated, and we feel we are not ready for that yet. So, yeah.
It's looking promising, and you might want to increase it. And then if you see, well, maybe this is doing something really bad,
yeah.
then you want to kill off this experiment really fast.
Yeah. Well, killing off that we can do really fast because we have the winner button, as we call it. And if you do the winner on the other one, then you're basically killing the. so promoting one winner is promoting the other one as loser, and then everyone gets the winner. But the tweaking how load is balanced, I think we need to learn more on this data first, and yeah, we need to be a bit more mature before we go into that direction.
So how do you follow up in your code base on the winners? How do you make sure the feature toggles don't lie around there for years to come?
We have on the dashboard, we have entry for all the squads, but we have also one entry point for the people of the squad building the tool. And they can get an overview of experiments who are in winner mode and for how long they are. And if experiments stick in winner mode for 3 months, we will have a chat with them, say, guys, this tool was to do an experiment. Apparently you're done. Maybe you should clean up your code. But that's for now a manual thing, because we are expecting, we kind of trust the maturity of all teams, and it is your code. And if you're maintaining it, you will want to remove those feature toggles as a team yourself as well. So we expect teams to do it by themselves. But if it ever becomes a problem, we can have a chat with those teams. Yeah, so your hand first.
I think ING has more information about the customers, like gender and age.
Mm-hmm.
Are there plans to combine that so that you can say, okay, I only want to target specifically at or whatever?
For now, not. I do think it's it would be normal to target on devices. For instance, we could say, let's target mobile, or let's target desktop, or let's target a certain version of a browser. But we have no plans currently saying, let's put buttons there to say, I want people with this hair color and that gender and who like tennis. That's yeah.
Was it difficult or complex to get, you said
You have to look at the data,
Yeah.
CFAs, or you have all the feature toggles
Mm-hmm.
to get it into the data you're collecting
Yeah.
in order to get a good dashboard on it. Is that difficult to realize?
No, it wasn't. That's also why we felt confident that we could do this ourselves. A lot of companies are doing it themselves because it's not that hard. There's a lot of there's tons of documentation on statistics and how you do your calculations. So all you need to do is just put your data in there and do your math, and that's it. So it's
Putting it in is easy.
yeah, that's just writing data, and it's Cassandra, so that's really fast in accepting a lot of writes. So we can put a lot of data in there with speed without any problems. Yeah, so it wasn't that much of a challenge. I think I also saw. Was the similar? Okay. Yeah. Well, for now, it's really simple. It's more numbers, all, a lot, or a small subset, and devices will be added in the future because we have some requests on that. Any other questions? Or is it lunchtime? I think it's lunchtime if I look around. So thank you all very much for coming.